My name is Laurelee, and this is It's Not About Food. So it's not about food, and it's not about weight. What is it about? Everything else, because it's never ever about food or weight. Never ever, not even one time, not ever, ever, ever. Okay, hello. This is Laurelee Roark, one of the founders of Beyond Hunger and one of the co-authors of It's Not About Food. Also one of the co-creators of the Body Love cards. And today we're talking about feelings and eating. So the lesson is overeating and undereating are both ways to cope with overwhelming feelings. They can become a tool to calm down, numb the pain, or get away from the feelings. Once we become aware of our overeating or undereating in the moment, we can then look beneath the behaviors at the underlying feelings and explore what might have caused them. So for me, this beautiful card on the front is the goddess is standing there with her arms down, and all around her are these like little tiny images of food just sort of circling all over the place. And her power animal has a big question mark on top of his head, sort of like, what is happening to her? So for me, the image is, this is how it feels to have all these feelings, and then they get kind of mushed up with eating. So for me, it was easier for me to eat, overeat, or undereat than it was to feel lonely or depressed or jealous or overwhelmed or poor. I would much rather feel hungry or full or overfull or just sort of sick because I ate too much or empty because I didn't eat enough. I knew how to feel that. I didn't know how to feel these other things. So as a little girl, I kind of came up with this way of taking care of myself because it was very hard in my family to have feelings. I didn't know how to have feelings, and I didn't even know how to have feelings once I became an adult. I really learned probably in my first sort of recoveries, when I recovered from alcohol and drugs and smoking and my eating disorder and codependency and all these things, I really realized that I used a lot of different things to cope with feelings that I had no idea how to feel. I didn't know how to take care of myself with them. I didn't know how to process them. So I think that we were smart little girls to come up with this way of taking care of ourselves. And I certainly got something that worked really well. That's the thing about eating disorders, is it works. They work until they don't work anymore. But they do work for a long time, and we have to find other things that work. So today, I'm so happy to introduce Beth. I've known her for a few years, and she's a beautiful photographer here in Sacramento. And I'm going to have her talk about who she is and what she does and sort of introduce herself. And then we'll have a little discussion about feelings and eating.
Fabulous. Hello. I'm thrilled to be here, and I love you, Laurelee. And I was in Laurelee's overeating class for about 3 years, and I learned a lot from her that I use today. I am still overeating regularly, and still working with things like that. And yes, exactly. When I was younger, my family it was a rough day. Let's get a double bag of potato chips and some onion dip. And my parents would get a big thing of the big tall beers, and let's sit and
party.
eat. Let's sit and eat and like have those. So I still do that. And so I'm a photographer in Sacramento, self-employed. I can't believe my good fortune, but yet I do have a lot of pressure in my job, and a lot of it's a lot of energy that you use, even if it's just kind of a headshot you're you need to perform, and that needs to be good, and people need to like it. So
Yeah.
one of the things that and even thinking about it, I'm having, as you're saying that, light bulbs go off in my mind with one of the things that you taught me was, once you're at home and you're like, I feel so stressed out, and this is how I'm going to not be stressed out, is to eat this cake.
Yeah.
The train has left the station. That's one thing that you taught me.
Right.
So what I'm learning now in my middle age, what I'm still learning is to use my voice to have my needs met throughout the day, and to say no to things, and to have self-care, so I don't feel stressed out at the end of the day and like,
That's
okay,
right.
ooh, now this is how I'm going to relax, is to sit and
That's
eat
right.
and eat this food. This is, now I'm going to drug myself. So
Right.
So yeah, that's what I learned as a kid, was to, hey, that was a tough day. Let's sit and gorge on these delicious potato chips, and the onion dip was the sour cream with the soup mix.
Yum. Lipton.
That Lipton stuff,
Lipton.
son. Yeah, so it's like, so learn that, and now I'm still learning to say, okay, I can say during the day, okay, no, and not feel so beat up at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
that's where I want to turn to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the big key, Beth.
Yeah.
I love that you brought this up, because I found when I was recovering from my eating disorder, I would go to these groups, or I went to treatment, and they would say, make a list of things that you can do when you get stressed out instead of eating. Well, at the time when I was going to start overeating, I didn't know that list. That list didn't work.
Yeah.
Screw that list. I just wanted to overeat. So that list didn't really help me. What did help me was to take care of myself all through the day.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, what can you do instead of eating? Well, you can set boundaries the week before.
Right.
You can tell the truth about that you need a break.
Yeah.
I could say, no, I'm not going to do that, or yes, I can take that on.
Yeah.
I could do that, and then I wouldn't get to that horrible place at the end of the day. Not that I wouldn't get tired or stressed or upset or all these things, because of course I would, but it wouldn't be such a buildup.
Yeah. Can we cuss on the podcast?
We can't say certain words.
Okay, I'll use a different word then. So one of my best friends, that she and I are both making a living full-time as professional photographers, and we say being a photographer is such a mind fudge.
Yes. Yes.
Such a mind fudge because
Yes.
and I've done very well in my business.
That's so great.
And
Lucky,
this
so
years into it, and I'm just doing great. I'm just got clients, everything great. I've never gotten one bad review. Everybody likes me. But after every shoot is the, am I good enough?
Yeah.
Did I do good enough? Are these photos good enough? So as I'm editing the photos, like, ooh, gosh. And
Right.
dude, this is 15 years. Like, I'm going to go do two shoots tonight. And so, yeah, like, am I enough? Am I enough? So that's a big part of me just learning to, as much as, like, it doesn't matter what you have. Magazine covers, it's like, am I enough? Am I
Right.
enough? So at the beginning of this year, I kind of came up with, I need to say, so I'll do a shoot, and if I don't hear from the person, I'll just have all these thoughts that are just crazy, like, oh, they didn't like them. So at the beginning of the year, it's
Right.
like I do my best, and
I'm going to live under the bridge any day now. Right.
Do you remember that? I say that they're not gonna like it. I'm gonna lose everything and be under the bridge being eaten by savage dogs.
Savage
pulling at
dogs.
my coat because it's all gonna be taken
Yeah.
away. So the I'm good enough, I'm okay. And that was one of the things that you touched on, is with our thoughts that were like, so I am overweight. I'm also older. So I'm like, well, I'm fat, I'm old, all these thoughts. And one of the things that you taught me was when you're thinking that, to say, well, isn't that helpful? You're thinking how your mind has all these thoughts. And so I study all this constantly to be like, with these thoughts, it's like, no, that's not true.
That's right.
No one's even looking at me.
Who even said that?
Yeah, I'll do a
Right.
shoot and I'll be like, well, she was looking at me because I'm overweight and I'm in my 50s. And it's like, no one's looking at you. And they loved them and they hired me looking for 10 more things. So
Yeah,
it's just
they're going with their own little circus in their head.
So with my thoughts and my and that's such a powerful thing to get in life is that your thoughts, you don't have to believe them. And it's like, that's a crazy thought that, it's like, that's not true. I'm just making that up. And isn't that helpful to be like, well, now you're too old for that.
Now you're too old and you're going to live under the bridge and be eaten by rabid dogs.
And the savage dogs, they're tearing at your coat that's already got holes in it and you're already under a bridge. That's not going to, So watching my thoughts. But one of the most powerful things that I learned from you was that helps me the most was when I do have the cravings for, I come home and I do want to have ice cream and popcorn and I want to eat to soothe myself, to reward myself, to calm myself because I like it. I like the popcorn. I like the, foods. And when I say to myself, I can have whatever I want.
Yeah.
I want some popcorn.
Of course.
Have some popcorn. And then it's not a binging situation.
That's right.
And it's like, you have a thing of popcorn. Popcorn's delicious. I love popcorn. I get it from Trader Joe's. It has 3 ingredients. It's like salty. It's nice. It's enjoyable. My palate likes it. You can have a little thing, so when I say I can have whatever I want, that changes everything. Because then I'm not like in that diet mentality of, you can't have that. This is good. This is bad.
Right.
So
that's the thing that I think people have the hardest time wrapping their head around, that there's no good food and there's no bad food. There's just food.
Right.
And that really, if you're a compulsive overeater, you're a compulsive undereater, you're a professional dieter as I was, it's the restriction that we are resisting and we're going up against. So I would eat because of the restriction either that I was on or I had just been on or I was going to go on. Yeah. So once I stopped that restriction and said, you can have food, just are you hungry? Are you full? Is this exactly what you want? Yeah. Then I didn't have to do that so much.
And you taught me that with the "Are you hungry?" And I've repeated that so many times when someone will say to me you should, so funny to me. You should, even doctors. I've had a doctor. Well, you should try the pickles and donuts, and and I'll say what really is the key is, are you hungry? Yeah. And I have to say I have not mastered that to not still eat when I'm not hungry. Right. I'm still doing that. Right. And but I'm much more okay with it, and it isn't this kind of shameful thing. And I think talking about stress, the way I feel is that everybody may buy a necklace they don't need, or
of course,
it's sex. Of course, it's sex, drug, and rock and roll. It's like everybody's using drama, sex, shopping, food, drugs, all types of prescription drugs, recreational drugs. So it's like I think everybody will have oh man, I have stress, I'm gonna have a brownie. I think a lot of people do that, and I will buy myself a necklace. I just want something pretty. I don't need that, So we'll all do a little bit of, I think most people will do a little bit of things like that. It's just so I still do with the overeating, and I have, this is I'm going in deep. Ready?
Well, here's the thing, is that I think that for what helped me about that exact same thing you're saying was that I didn't make the eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and eat what your body wants you to eat diet. I didn't make myself wrong if I ate when I wasn't hungry. There was nothing wrong with me eating something that maybe my body said I'd like a cup of soup and I ate a cup of brownie. I didn't make myself wrong about that. I just said, isn't that interesting? I wanted some soup and I forced myself to eat a brownie. Now, what was that about? Well, I was trying to feed something other than hunger. Okay, so that's information. Thank you so much for sharing, Laurelee. And now I'm going to go on. And eventually, I mostly ate when I was hungry. I mostly stopped when I was full. I mostly ate what my body wanted. And I found that my body does want ice cream and chocolate and soup and salad and a piece of bread and popcorn. It really does. It wants like a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And it's not a moral issue either, because when I felt like I was overweight, everything I put in my mouth was a moral issue.
Right.
I was so upset with myself that I would eat. Even if I would say, well, it's okay, I would still feel this, oh no. And so on the other side of that same coin is I had to also accept the body that I had, whatever size it was, no matter what.
Yeah, and I remember that from our group, which was, maybe I started it seems like almost 10 years ago, maybe.
I
even.
think so,
Yeah,
for sure.
So, and I still, and at the group, I'd be like, again and again, I'd say, but I don't accept this body. But
Right.
I don't. But I
Right.
don't. But I don't because I am.
Because I'm fat and I'm overweight.
It's not even, yeah. And you said I have a lot of body love and I have no, it's so interesting to me in my business how people will act like being fat is the worst thing in the world. It's like, I'm great. I'm adorable. I have friends at the house, loved ones. I'm just thriving. But I would say, well, I don't, carrying the weight, I'm on my feet. And so it's like I would like to not carry the weight. And again, I don't know if you remember, this was a long time ago, I would say it kind of again and again. And so with my body, I have such an acceptance, but would prefer to not, would prefer to be 50 pounds less for health reasons, not for health reasons, but for just strength reasons and, aesthetics too. Sometimes I'll feel embarrassed because I'm heavy, but less and less. I'm like 80% love, except maybe, and then, but this is where, when I was saying I'm going to go in deep, is what I wonder with myself and perhaps had to kind of peek in this window is, am I carrying the weight because it's kind of my last barrier because I am overweight, I am heavy, that it's kind of a thing. It's like, well, I can't do that because I can't do those 4 jobs because I'm carrying this weight and I just can't handle that, So am I carrying the weight because I can't just say, cause it's an excuse to, for me to be like, well, gosh, I got to rest,
Right.
So now I'm at the point in life to say, and it's just so funny because it's just this year of being able to say no to a job because I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Have enough money
Yeah.
and just to say, you know what, that stress is not going to be worth it. So this is just in 2019, learning after 15 years, learning to say no. I'm going to say no to that job instead of, well, I better take that job because that may be the last job. And then I'm going to be living under a bridge being with Savage Dog tearing at my coat.
Yes.
There's already holes in it.
That already has holes in it.
Yeah, and there's the dogs again.
Right. Well, I think that what you're bringing up is a really great point.
Yeah.
Is me keeping this weight on keeping me from my real path or keeping me from doing more?
Protecting me.
Protecting you.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can use our voice. We can say, no, I don't want to do that job, or yes, I do.
Yes, yeah.
And I think I look at us saying, as women in the culture that we live in, we're too old, we're too fat, we're too there's the Supreme Court case that just was heard yesterday. We're too bossy and we're too manly looking. Yeah. So we can't work as a receptionist, for God's sakes. So to me, I'm very bossy, so everybody knows. Exactly.
I'm very bossy.
So maybe if we took it away from our body and just said, I would like to take this job, but I'm not so sure that it's really good for me to take the job.
Yeah.
We don't have to say, I'm going to not take this job because I'm overweight. We can just say, I'm not going to take this job because I don't know that it's worth the stress that it's going to bring.
I already have 2 jobs that day, so that third day is going to make it very stressful.
Right.
So, yeah.
So my theory is, even if you were 100 pounds less than you are right now, let's just say 500 pounds less than you are right now. Because
if I was invisible.
1,000,000 pounds. So if you were you weighed 75 pounds, it still wouldn't be a good idea to take that job. And I
Right.
also find that a lot of times I'll put pressure on myself. Oh, I'm too old to do this, or I'm too fat to do this, or I'm too hurt to do this.
Yeah.
Like my knees hurt. But really, what I want to be is young. I want to be 21 again
Yeah.
when I go in that place, which of course I cannot be.
Right.
So even though this is the body that I have now at 68 years old, oh well.
Yeah.
And I don't jump through a million hoops to keep it looking like this.
Right, right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder, if like we can all do whatever we want to do.
Right.
But our
Yeah.
bodies are just going to go to their own little
Right.
place they like to be, and we might as well just let them.
Right. Well, I do. Again, it's just this year to say again, like you have 2 jobs in the afternoon. You just say no to that. That's not. You don't need the money. You're good.
And you don't need the stress,
Yeah,
and
you don't need the stress. Exactly.
And you
So-
don't need the problem that you're going to put on yourself
Yeah.
about not doing it.
Right.
And
yeah,
call
so-
yourself names.
Right. It was fear of. I need to. This is a term, old term. I need to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah.
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 So, but again, with my thoughts are saying this is stressful when it's not. It's easy. Most things are easy. I'm great at it. I've done it for
Yes,
years. It's
yes.
not. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna take Sunday off with my loved ones and have, like yesterday, I went to Grass Valley, spent time with my friends.
Nice.
And it was wonderful. And we
Nice.
laughed and we had Vietnamese food and we
Yeah.
just, in exchange of energy, and I feel refreshed today. So instead of like, well, no, I need to take that job, it's like, no, I don't. I need to have a life and enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I told you I'm getting really truthy.
It's okay.
So
Truthy
one
is
of the
good.
other things
Truthy
that
smooshy.
you taught me that I can see is very true is when I would I love beautiful foods. I love I love gorgeous foods. I'm not afraid to go to get to really good foods. So I'm not like Burger
Yeah,
King. Burger King
good.
I think is disgusting. So I like nice, beautiful whole foods and good foods, and I'm
Right.
so I'm not really drawn to like a lot of junky foods. I don't eat meat. I don't like a hot dog. I'm not like again, the Burger King is disgusting to me. So I don't eat like McDonald's. So I like really nice, beautiful, healthy, non-chemical foods, and and during the day, I don't overeat at all. Not even a tiny bit. Am I urged to go have a big giant, like right after this, I'm going to go do a shoot. I'm not like, I'm going to go eat a lot of food. And then, so I have 2 shoots. And then when I come home, then it's like, okay, now it's like my time to relax. And now I can, okay, here's my worked all day, zipped around town,
Yeah.
very busy, gave a lot of energy, worked really hard, creative, had a great day. And then it's like, okay, now here's my final time and now is when I want to have something very a creamy pasta.
Right.
And something very
Okay.
carbo loaded that isn't maybe necessarily like a great choice. And one of the things that you taught me is that's my
7-year-old
saying, I want a reward.
Yeah.
And
I
so
was a good girl, and now I get a lollipop.
now this is where, that's
Yeah.
my 7-year-old and gets what she wants every
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Well, and thank God you had that 7-year-old. You might not have made it through your childhood without her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the one who says, "Yeah, this whole thing is really sucky." So I need to have something
Yeah.
to keep me going.
Yeah.
What I want to say again is that there is nothing wrong with creamy pasta. There is nothing wrong with carbs. Like right now, 2019, carbs are evil. But I've been around long enough, so have you, that meat is evil, or coffee is evil, or sugar is evil,
Fat
or
is
fat
evil.
is evil,
Yeah.
or, fill in the blank is evil. There was a time not that long ago when you carbo loaded before you went to the gym.
Yeah.
Now that's against the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is like you're going to be put in
Yeah.
in diet jail if you carb load.
In my day, they called it Atkins.
Yes.
And I did it when I
Yes.
was 12.
Yes.
And I think it gave me kidney damage. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, all bacon. Yeah. That's a great idea
Yeah.
to not eat any
Bacon
grains.
with butter.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And there's, again, nothing wrong with these foods. It's just, isn't it interesting? Somebody made money off of me. Somebody made money to make me feel afraid of my own appetite so that I would buy their product so then I would be okay. Instead of, you know what, I already have a good diet person inside of me. It's my body. And it says, I want that. I don't want that. I want this much. That's too much. That's just enough. Now let's have some water. Now let's just move on with our lives. You know, I've already got that. Just like we know how to pee, our bodies know how to eat. We don't really have to worry about it. We don't have to think about it really even. The only thing I need to know is where do I get the food that my body is asking me for? And I can find it.
Right.
I live in America. I don't live in...
There's Trader Joe's.
There's everything.
I have
all
a
the
car.
time. I have a
Yeah,
car.
I have
I have a
car.
credit card.
Yeah.
I have money. I have
an
people
ATM.
trust me
Yeah.
with a bank card.
Yeah.
I can get it now. I couldn't when I was younger.
Yeah.
I had to steal and eat all the cookies that I
Yeah.
could find because I didn't have any money. I couldn't go to the store and buy more. I had to wait until someone else had them there. So we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to ever, I don't have to eat, I don't have to worry, oh, I'm eating too many fill in the blanks because I just trust my body. Well, I guess it needed that. That's okay. I love you. It's all right.
So with the 7-year-old that is saying, well, hey, now I'm going to check out and reward.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily feel good. It feels like an addictive behavior. And I've grown a lot with it. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going home and eating a
Yeah.
giant thing of spaghetti, but that reward eating, what do
we do?
Yeah.
So I feel, since you have identified the one who eats, if you will, the one who eats,
Yeah.
the 7-year-old that
Yeah.
took over the kitchen.
Baby Beth.
So you have, I would say, here's my take on this. She wants to talk to you. She wants you. She'll take creamy pasta. She'll take ice cream. She'll take cookies. She'll take popcorn. She'll take whatever. But what she really wants is you. For you to go, hey, sweetheart, how are you doing? What do you need? You can have anything you want. You want a bath? You want to call a girlfriend? You want to have sex? You want to, go on the computer? What do you want to do? I'm right here. I got your back. I love you. We have all the resources in the world. That was a really hard day. I get it.
Deep stuff.
You just go
Yeah.
to you.
Well, and I also remember you saying that, she's kind of like, dude, you just worked all day. We don't
Yeah.
get to do anything fun.
Yeah.
And so this is some deep stuff, but yeah, to say like, so I will kind of say like, hey, let's give myself a day like yesterday where
you
I
just
don't
give-
feel so
Yeah.
deprived from life, and
Yeah. And I'm all about let's make a deal. So I have been working, sitting down, working all day, just sitting. So I can feel myself getting like, oh, I'm never going to get anything good again. I'll start to do that black and white thinking. So I'll say, wait, let's go for a walk. Let's go to a movie. Let's have some gummy bears.
Yeah.
Let's call somebody.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're taking the day off.
yeah.
Because I can do that. I'm an adult.
I am my own boss,
I
and
can-
sometimes I need to tell her no.
I know.
You get Sundays off. I
know.
It's in my business, everybody's off on Sunday. So like, hey, can we do it and on Sunday? And I do work on Sunday and I don't mind, but I like to joke and say, even God rested on the 6th. Everybody needs a day off.
Right.
So.
No, I look at my day timer and look at my schedule and go, who made all these appointments?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
fictional.
I'm my own worst boss and my best employee.
You're fictitious scheduler. Astrid. She did it.
Astrid.
We need to have a long talk with
Firing
Astrid.
her.
Yeah.
So it's about, all of this is just working this stuff out with you. Of how about this? How about this? How about this? And nothing you ever do is wrong. You're not killing puppies. You're not eating babies. You're not, shooting up Walmart.
Yeah.
You're just eating a cookie.
Yeah.
That's what,
And I have come a long way with, in today's standards, I would be, 50 pounds, 60 pounds, 70 pounds overweight but I'm great and I do love myself and I am able to walk in. I have a big belly and to be like, I'm just okay. And
yes.
I don't feel bad about my body or myself.
Good.
And I have a lot of love and I love to go lift weights and
Good.
work out and do classes and
yeah, when I go into schools, I say, if you want to know what you're going to look like, because invariably, well, we shouldn't be fat, right? And I go, you know what? Look at your ancestors. Your DNA coding is going to tell you what you're going to look like when you're my age, more than anything else. And if you let your body go to where it wants to be, chances are you're going to look like your grandma, your grandpa, your Aunt Betty. You're going to look like the people that you came from.
Right.
Now, we're much healthier, of course. I'm much healthier than my grandparents were. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I live in this day and age when there's a lot, I have penicillin, for God's sakes,
Right. Yes.
They didn't have that. So I know I have advantages.
Yeah.
But I still have a body that I have to take care of and have it lead me, because it knows when it wants to go and do weights and when it wants to walk around the block and when it wants to eat and when it wants to go to sleep. If I get out of its way, that's really all I have to do.
Yet another very and I've quoted this again when I went to your group and I was born 10 pounds and I just came out this. So I joke that I was perhaps in the womb like, hey, the people are stressing me out. I got to get some more juice here. So I was overeating in the womb, I like to joke around. And so then when I was a kid, I was chubby. Oh my gosh, when I was 18 months, I was a big, chubby baby, cute as humanly, nothing cuter on the earth than me at 18 months.
Right.
Heavy. And then in 3rd grade, just a larger person. I remember in 7th grade, I was 5'3" and I weighed 135 pounds in 7th grade.
Yeah.
So a big German girl with big bones.
Right.
And big legs and big arms. And in the culture that I grew up in, this is so dating myself with this. I need a better analogy. But it was Charlie's Angels with Kate Jackson and Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah. Who all had eating disorders.
Yeah. And they were
So let's remember that.
They were all, did they? Yeah.
Yes.
So it was the 3 and they were just bone thin. And there wasn't Melissa McCarthy. And even though Amy Schumer, she's probably like a size 8 or something. But there was it was fat is bad.
Yes.
Skinny is good.
That's right.
And I'm fat. And I wasn't fat. In high school, I was fat. It was my normal body type.
Right.
And so now and getting that was, you taught me that. And I saw a picture of my ancestors and I had exactly their same body. So that was such a powerful thing.
So if you lived around those people, if you still lived around that little village or that, you wouldn't have been, oh my God, you've been overeating since you were in the womb. Yeah. No, it would be like, hey, here's Beth. Yay, she's here. Take our picture.
Yeah, but I was looking at these, and it was when the women were, designers wanted women to look like boys. And so it was the skinny was good, fat's bad. And so now I don't, and I still will listen to people and hear people, constantly being a wedding photographer, being, people
Oh
like,
my
don't
God,
make me
so
look
much.
fat and
Yeah.
so much. And it's like, well, and I'm a human being. I don't want to look fat, so in the same breath as I'm saying I'm okay with my weight, I'm still in the culture that would like to
Right.
have less of this body and
Right.
I feel lighter and not carry around. But yeah, it was, so I've come a long way with again,
Yeah.
skinny's good. And I see so many women having come such a long way. And, I did a photo shoot for Sacramento Magazine and beautiful, large women that are like, see me, love me.
Yeah.
There's nothing I need to change about myself. A lot.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Well, it's still the same as when we were children, that there is a lot of pressure for women and now men. The up and coming eating disorder is male eating disorders.
Yeah.
More and more males every year are coming to treatment. And that means more and more males are not coming to treatment. So there's more and more males all the time because they're a source of income. So if a company makes you feel bad about your size or your age, you'll buy their product. Now, of course, this is all underneath
In the past,
radar,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with men. So if we all push back on that and said, actually, how I am is okay.
Yeah.
Then I don't need your thanks so much, thanks, but no thanks. You're crazy, lap band or whatever the hell it is. I'm going to just go within and see what I need to do. Is so much more powerful than buying yet another thing. But we have to have a lot of support for that.
I feel we do. Yeah. I feel we
we're
do.
all swimming in this fishbowl.
Yeah.
There's messages out there that are so insane. And we have to have friends that we call them and go, hey, I'm thinking of freezing all my fat. And that person says, yeah, it's not a good idea.
Right.
That's not really not going to work because there's no free lunch. So let's do something else. Let's go on a holiday, me and you.
Recently, I photographed a person with a lot of influence, and she had her breast implants removed, and as well as 2 other people. And to say similar to that, like why they were all saying these made me very sick.
Yes.
And why did I believe that I was not okay? Which is full circle with me back to, I'm not enough. I'm, I'm doing fantastic in my career, but yet I'm saying am I good enough? Am I enough? Am I good enough? Am I enough?
Okay.
And, yeah.
So here's the deepest
Let's
of the
go
deep.
there. Let's go deep. Here's the water deep dive. Shh. Go.
Okay. So that little girl, 7 years old, she's the one saying, you're not good enough. So your job, if you decide to do it, is to make her believe that she is good enough. You love her. You're going to take care of her. Nothing bad's going to ever happen to her again. She's not going to live with people that eat chips and drink a bunch of beer.
She may want some Lipton every once in a while.
And it's okay. It's a perfectly fine food. But she is enough.
Yeah.
And that is your diet.
Yeah.
She is enough. That's the diet you go on.
The enough diet.
I love this little girl, and she has always been enough. And so we're not believing that anymore, sweet pea. You know? Beth, little 7-year-old Beth, she is more than enough, and she even gets more and more enough all the time. So we have to find those little pieces of us that have been left behind.
That's good stuff.
And bring them in.
Right.
Because here they are anyways.
Yeah, right.
We might as well give them a seat at the table.
Yeah, and break the agreement to break our agreements. Sometimes we'll have agreements to suffering and context. Like I break that agreement. That
the people who made those agreements with us, a lot of times they're not even alive anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And they had horrible agreements with themselves.
Right. Yeah. So that's so powerful that I'll say to my friends all the time, like, because my mom never made me feel ashamed. She was dieting, and she lost, she went on the Weight Watch. We were dieting because that's what everybody did, because
Of course.
1 pound overweight was, bad. And
yeah.
So, but yeah, she never made me feel ashamed or like I shouldn't. So I had a really good with that.
But did you walk outside into the culture that told you that you weren't okay?
I think it was the culture was telling me I was not okay.
That's right.
That
And you're
the
not
boys
enough.
were not chasing me into the bathroom, and I'm like, they're chasing that little blonde girl in the bathroom,
Right.
and
So
how come
it's
I'm
a
not
whole
getting chased.
Right. It's a whole cluster, you know what.
Yeah.
So, man, I am so
Good. Again, I love the This is I'm quitting everything. I'm just a podcaster now. I really like that. I'm a professional podcaster. I just go from place to place and be on podcasts. So
beautiful.
Yeah. Again,
Well, I really appreciate you being on this one.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
I think a lot of people should listen to this again and again.
Absolutely.
On a loop.
Absolutely. So I'm wondering if you will read the Just for Today that's on the card.
Yes. And then I'm going to sing a cappella, Learning to Love Yourself, in slow motion.
Oh, my
so
God.
stay tuned. I'm not kidding.
I can sing Oscar Mayer, the Oscar Mayer song.
I can sing it with you. Ben, let's end it with the Oscar Mayer song. Okay, awesome. Today I will practice noticing when I am overeating or undereating and ask myself, what am I feeling right now? I will close my eyes and take a few deep breaths and ask myself, where in my body do I feel any sensation? Can I identify my emotions? If so, what might have happened that triggered this feeling?
Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
Yes.
The questions that we forget to ask
Right.
ourselves.
Well, it's much easier to go numb,
Well, it's easier, but then when you don't.
In the past, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you feel like, it's actually harder to hold that numbness all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, 1, 2, 3. My baloney has a first name. It's Oscar.
Even though we don't eat bologna because it's gross, my bologna.
I think bologna is a fine food. My baloney has a second name.
I'm a vegetarian.
So get a veggie bologna.
I like to eat vegetarian bologna every day.
too.
And if you
I forgot the rest.
ask me why, I'll say, 'cause
'Cause
Oscar Mayer
Has a way with BOLANGA.
Yay!
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And be sure and follow me on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and itsnotaboutfood.com. Thanks.